The day I bought my farm was the day that I thought I was also going to die. It sounds really dramatic, but bear with me. When I started viewing properties, like in my hometown, I really did not have any expectations towards, the demographics or profile of the farmers or like the sellers. I didn't care because to me, as long as I find the right property for me, that's all that mattered. As I started to view properties, I started to have an idea of like the profile, and you can tell that they're probably did not have the chance to get higher education, which to me, again, I didn't care. I just wanted to buy the right property for me. So when I finally found the right property for me, which is like this 2 hectare property, which is actually owned by two farmers. The first owner looks like he is in his 50s, he's married with children, and then the second owner, he is in his 70s. They all seem really nice, and as soon as like I showed interest with the property and I did my background check, and comes with proper documents, so that was a good sign for me to proceed. While we were processing the potential purchase of property from them, they were required to provide more legal documents, which they did not have. So I offered. I said, look, maybe my contacts can help, and then you don't have to wait for too long. And so we did. I accompanied them, and of course, like, because we had the chance to like spend time together, I had the chance to get to know them better. And so I learned that education-wise, none. Maybe grade school. That's about it. The 70s guy, really nice guy. He hasn't even ridden a car. That's the kind of exposure or background that he has. It was his first time to ride a car. When I offered to accompany them to the city government office, after we have processed the documents, I said, shall we go for lunch? Because I was hungry, and I was craving for Filipino food, and we went to the nearest mall, and the elderly hasn't even been to a mall. He was actually scared to ride the escalator. So, you're now starting to have a picture of the kind of like background or profile of these farmers, right? And again, to me, I didn't care. I just wanted to find the right property for me. And they seemed really nice, and they came with the right documents. So it ticked all of the legal requirements that I needed. While we were having lunch, I asked them, do they have a bank account? Because if I end up buying their property, they will receive a life-changing amount of money. And so I wanted to make sure that they have the right avenue to actually keep the money. And so I asked them, do they have a bank account? Or if I decide to purchase the property, how do I pay them? Can I pay them in check that they can just in cash, because I didn't want to be carrying cash? Or do they have a bank account that I can transfer the money to? And so they said they don't have a bank account. Coincidentally, the mall that we went to is also the place where I usually do my banking transactions, and because I've become friends with the manager of that bank. And so I said, okay, why don't we do this? Why don't I help you open a bank account? Right? And so we went to the bank, and I introduced them to the bank manager, and I explained to the bank manager the background. They're like, hey, I am looking at buying their property, but they don't have a bank account. So can you help us? And you know what I realized? I realized how it can be so tricky when you're just a humble person wanting to open a bank account, and yet the system makes it difficult for you to actually open a bank account, because some of the requirements or some of the questions that were in the form were kind of I knew that oh shit, if we actually fill this out, chances are the sellers of these farmers are probably not going to be eligible to open a bank account. And so I felt even more worried for them. And so I asked the bank manager, is there any way that you can help us? Because obviously they don't have a statement of account. They don't have any proof to show of their source of income because they are farmers. Everything is on a cash basis. And so the bank manager said, okay, since I know that you are potentially buying the property from them, then I know that they will be receiving a lump sum cash from you. And so let me help you. And so she agreed that she will help open a bank account. So when I finally decided that, okay, this is it, everything is like, clean, legal, everything is sorted. And so we have agreed, myself and the sellers, that we will meet at the lawyer's office to sign the documents. And then when it comes to the payment, we will go to the bank and they will open, the bank manager has already agreed to open a bank account for them. And for safety purposes, I will pay them inside the bank. And that will also be the time when they will be opening their bank account. And after that, after I pay them out, they can do whatever they want, right?